I watched in horror as my boss's fiancée grabbed my hair and dragged me toward the bathroom. Her perfectly manicured nails dug into my scalp. "You think you can embarrass me?" she hissed. But when the door slammed shut, I had no idea my billionaire boss was standing right outside, hearing everything. My name is Sophie, and I never imagined that one spilled glass of champagne would change my entire life. But before I tell you what happened next, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story takes a turn you won't believe. Trust me, you don't want to miss what my boss did when he found out the truth. Let me start from the beginning. I work as a maid in one of the most luxurious penthouses in the city. The kind of place where the marble floors shine brighter than my entire future, and a single piece of furniture costs more than I make in a year. My boss, Daniel Hayes, is a billionaire CEO. He runs a tech empire, and honestly, he's not like the entitled rich people you see in movies. He's quiet, respectful, and treats his staff like actual human beings. At least, that's what I thought before I really got to know him. I've been working for Daniel for about 8 months now. The pay is decent, and I desperately need every penny. You see, I'm raising my 6-year-old niece, Lily. 2 years ago, my brother and his wife died in a terrible car accident. One moment they were here, laughing and planning Lily's future, and the next moment, everything shattered. I became her legal guardian overnight. I went from being a carefree single woman to a parent, responsible for a traumatized little girl who lost everything. Lily is my whole world now, but she has a medical condition that requires ongoing treatment. The bills pile up every month, and no matter how hard I work, it feels like I'm drowning. But I smile through it because that little girl needs to believe that everything will be okay. She needs to believe that I can protect her, even when I'm terrified that I can't. Working in Daniel's penthouse became my lifeline. The job came with benefits, and the salary, though not extravagant, was enough to keep us afloat. I cleaned, I cooked, I made sure everything was perfect. I stayed invisible, just like the other staff members advised me to. In a house like this, you don't make waves. You don't draw attention to yourself. You simply exist in the background, making sure the lives of the wealthy run smoothly. But then there was Amanda, Daniel's fiancée. Amanda Crawford was everything you'd expect from a socialite. Stunning, polished, always dressed in designer clothes that cost more than my annual salary. She had this air of perfection around her, like she was born to be adored. Daniel seemed happy with her, or at least, he never complained. They looked perfect together in those glossy magazine photos. The power couple, the match made in heaven. But behind closed doors, Amanda was different. I saw it in the way she spoke to the staff. Her tone was always sharp, dismissive. She never looked us in the eye, like we were beneath her notice. I watched her snap at the chef for seasoning the food wrong. I saw her reduce one of the housekeepers to tears over a wrinkle in a bedsheet. And I noticed how the other staff members would tense up whenever she walked into a room. They warned me early on. "Stay out of her way," they said. "Don't make eye contact. Don't speak unless spoken to. And whatever you do, don't mess up." I followed their advice religiously. I kept my head down and did my job. But I also noticed something else. Something that made my stomach twist in a way I didn't want to acknowledge. I noticed the way Daniel looked at me sometimes. Not in a creepy way, but with genuine curiosity and kindness. He'd ask me how I was doing. He'd inquire about Lily, remembering her name after I mentioned her once. He even asked if she was feeling better after I mentioned she had a fever. It was such a small thing, but it meant the world to me. No one in that house, except for maybe the other staff, ever treated me like I was a real person. But Daniel did, and I think Amanda noticed it too. I started catching her staring at me with this cold, calculating look in her eyes. She'd watched Daniel interact with me, and I could see the jealousy simmering beneath her perfect exterior. It made me uncomfortable, so I started avoiding any interaction with Daniel altogether. I didn't want trouble. I couldn't afford to lose this job. Then came the charity gala. Daniel was hosting this massive event at the penthouse to raise funds for children's hospitals. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, struggling to pay for my niece's medical bills, while people were about to throw thousands of dollars around for charity in designer gowns. But I wasn't bitter. I was just grateful to have a job. The days leading up to the gala were chaotic. Amanda was there every single day, micromanaging every detail. She criticized the flower arrangements, the catering choices, the lighting. Nothing was good enough for her, and she took her stress out on all of us. I could feel the tension in the house building like a pressure cooker about to explode. On the day of the gala, I was assigned to serve drinks during the final preparations. Important guests were arriving early, and everything had to be flawless. I was carrying a tray of champagne glasses through the grand hallway when it happened. Amanda came around the corner suddenly, talking loudly on her phone. I tried to move out of her way, but she stepped right into my path. The tray tilted, and champagne splashed onto her dress. Just a little, but enough. Time seemed to stop. I watched the golden liquid seep into the fabric of her white designer gown, and my heart dropped into my stomach. "I'm so sorry," I gasped, immediately setting the tray down. "It was an accident. I didn't see you. Let me help clean it." But Amanda's face transformed into something ugly. Her eyes blazed with fury, and before I could react, she screamed, "You stupid, clumsy idiot! Do you have any idea how much this dress costs?" Everyone in the hallway stopped and stared. Other staff members froze in place. I felt my face burn with humiliation. "I'm so sorry, Miss Crawford," I stammered. "Please, let me—" "Shut up," she shrieked. And then, without warning, she grabbed a fistful of my hair. Pain shot through my scalp as she yanked me forward. I cried out, but she didn't care. She dragged me down the hallway by my hair, and I stumbled, trying to keep up with her violent pulling. My eyes watered from the pain. I could hear gasps from the other staff, but no one dared to intervene. She hauled me into the nearest bathroom and slammed the door shut behind us. The lock clicked, and suddenly we were alone. My scalp was throbbing, and I could feel strands of my hair in her grip. She finally released me, shoving me backward. I caught myself on the marble sink, breathing hard. "You did that on purpose," Amanda hissed, her face inches from mine. "Don't think I don't see what you're doing." Batting your eyes at Daniel, playing the poor little victim. "You think he'll ever notice someone like you? You're just a maid." "I don't know what you're talking about," I whispered, my voice shaking. "It was an accident, I swear." "Liar!" She slapped me across the face. The crack of her palm against my cheek echoed in the bathroom. My head snapped to the side, and I tasted blood where my teeth cut into my lip. Tears spilled down my cheeks, not just from the pain, but from the sheer humiliation of it all. "Get on your knees," Amanda commanded, her voice low and venomous. "What?" I looked at her in disbelief. I said, "Get on your knees and apologize properly. Beg me for forgiveness, or I'll make sure you never work in this city again. I'll destroy you and that little brat you're raising." My blood ran cold. She knew about Lily. Of course she did. She'd probably had me investigated. I felt sick. I needed this job. I needed the insurance. I needed the money for Lily's treatment. What choice did I have? With trembling legs, I started to lower myself to the cold tile floor. Tears streamed down my face. I had never felt so small, so powerless, so utterly worthless. This was what my life had become. This was what I had to endure to survive. But then the bathroom door suddenly swung open. I looked up, and there stood Daniel. His face was pale, his jaw clenched tight. His eyes moved from me, kneeling on the floor with tears streaming down my face and a red handprint on my cheek, to Amanda, who stood frozen with shock. "Daniel," Amanda started, her voice immediately shifting to something sweet and innocent. "Thank goodness you're here." This clumsy girl ruined my dress and then became completely hysterical. I was just trying to calm her down. "I heard everything," Daniel said quietly. His voice was cold, controlled, but I could hear the fury underneath. I heard every single word you said to her. Amanda's face drained of color. What? I came home early from the office, Daniel continued, stepping into the bathroom. I heard shouting. I heard you drag her in here. I've been standing outside that door for the past 5 minutes, listening to you verbally abuse and physically assault my employee. She spilled champagne on my dress, Amanda protested, but her voice was weak now. It was an accident, Daniel said firmly. He walked past Amanda and offered me his hand. Sophie, please get up. You don't kneel to anyone. I took his hand with trembling fingers, and he helped me to my feet. His touch was gentle, so different from Amanda's violence. He examined my face, his expression darkening when he saw the mark her slap had left. Are you okay? He asked softly, and the genuine concern in his voice made fresh tears spring to my eyes. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. Daniel turned to Amanda. Get out. Excuse me. Amanda's voice rose in disbelief. We're engaged, Daniel. You can't speak to me like this over some maid. I said, get out. His voice was like steel. This isn't the first complaint I've received about your behavior toward my staff. Other employees have come to me, but I didn't believe them. I thought they were exaggerating. I gave you the benefit of the doubt because I loved you. But I heard you with my own ears just now. I saw what you did. Daniel, please. Amanda reached for him, but he stepped back. You hit her. You threatened her child. You humiliated her and tried to force her to beg. What kind of person does that? Daniel's voice cracked slightly. I don't know who you really are, Amanda, but you're not the woman I thought I was going to marry. He reached out and took Amanda's left hand. She realized what he was doing and tried to pull away, but he held firm. He slid his mother's engagement ring off her finger. We're done, he said quietly. Pack your things and leave my house. Amanda's perfect mask shattered completely. You're going to throw away what we have for a maid? A nobody? Are you insane? I'm throwing away what we have because you're cruel, Daniel replied. Because you abuse people who can't defend themselves. Because you're not the person I thought you were. Security will escort you out. As if on cue, 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Amanda looked between them and Daniel, her face twisted with rage and humiliation. You'll regret this, she spat. I'll ruin you. I'll tell everyone. Tell them whatever you want, Daniel said tiredly. The truth is on my side. And so are the dozen staff members who witnessed what you just did. The security guards gently but firmly guided Amanda out of the bathroom. Her protests and threats echoed down the hallway until they faded completely. And then there was silence. Daniel turned back to me. Sophie, I am so sorry. I should have listened to my staff when they tried to tell me about her behavior. I was blind. Please, let me take you to the hospital to get checked out. I'm fine, I whispered, though my face was throbbing. Really, I need to get back to work. The gala can wait, Daniel said firmly. You're more important. Come on. He insisted on driving me to the hospital himself. The doctor confirmed I had some bruising but nothing serious. Daniel waited the entire time, making phone calls to postpone the gala and dealing with the aftermath of Amanda's removal. When we returned to the penthouse, he called all the staff together and apologized. He apologized for not believing them, for allowing Amanda's behavior to continue, for failing to protect them. Then he did something that shocked me. He gave me paid leave to recover, not just physically, but emotionally. And when I mentioned I was worried about Lily's upcoming medical appointment, he quietly said he would cover all her medical expenses. Not as a loan, but as an apology for what I'd endured. I cried. I couldn't help it. For 2 years I'd been drowning, struggling to keep my head above water, terrified that I'd fail Lily. And suddenly, this man, my boss, was throwing me a lifeline I never expected. 3 months passed. Lily's treatment was going well, covered completely by Daniel's generosity. I returned to work, and the atmosphere in the house was completely different. Daniel was more present, more engaged with everyone. He seemed lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. Amanda tried to sue him for defamation and breach of promise, but the testimonies of the staff members who witnessed the bathroom incident, combined with previous complaints that had been documented, destroyed her case. Her reputation in high society crumbled. Meanwhile, Daniel and I grew closer. Not intentionally at first, it just happened. He'd ask about Lily, and I'd share stories about her progress. He'd tell me about his day, and I'd listen. We started having coffee together in the mornings before the house got busy. 6 months after the gala incident, Daniel called me into his office. My heart raced, thinking something was wrong. But when I entered, he looked nervous. Daniel Hayes, Billionaire CEO, looked genuinely nervous. "Sophie," he began, running a hand through his hair. "I need to tell you something, and I hope it doesn't make things awkward between us." I waited, my heart pounding. "Amanda was right about one thing," he continued softly. "I did notice you. From the beginning, I noticed how kind you were, how hard you worked, how much you loved your niece. I noticed everything about you. But I was with Amanda, and I thought what I felt was just admiration, respect." He stepped closer. "But after she left, after spending these months getting to know you better, I realized it's so much more than that. I'm in love with you, Sophie. I love your strength, your grace, your heart. I love the way you read bedtime stories to Lily over the phone during your breaks. I love the way you smile when you think no one's watching. I love you." I stood frozen, tears streaming down my face, for what felt like the 100th time since I'd met this man. But these were happy tears. "You don't have to say anything right now," Daniel said quickly. "I know there's a power dynamic here, and I don't want you to feel pressured. If you don't feel the same way, nothing has to change. I'll still—" "I love you too," I interrupted, my voice barely a whisper. "I've been so scared to admit it, even to myself. But I do. I love you." The smile that broke across Daniel's face was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. He closed the distance between us and cupped my face gently, carefully, as if I were something precious. "May I kiss you?" he asked softly. I nodded, and when his lips met mine, I felt like I was finally home. A year later, Daniel and I got married in a small, intimate ceremony, with Lily as our flower girl. He adopted her officially, and she calls him Dad now. We're a family, an unexpected, unconventional, beautiful family. The penthouse that once felt like a gilded cage now feels like home. Sometimes I think about that moment in the bathroom, kneeling on the cold tile floor, feeling worthless and broken. I think about how Amanda's cruelty, meant to destroy me, actually led me to the greatest happiness I've ever known. Not because of the money or the luxury, but because it revealed who Daniel truly was. It showed me that kindness exists, that justice sometimes prevails, and that love can grow in the most unexpected places. That bathroom confrontation changed my entire life. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear that standing up for what's right matters. And if you want more incredible true stories like this, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below telling me what you would have done in my situation. Would you have stayed quiet or spoken up? I'll see you in the next video.